Hey, I'm telling you, I told you that I was gonna
You
do
were
the whole tap with with the electric and the lightning coming down. The mad scientist, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
have
you,
to check
you
it in
you
the
went
blood.
full out on that intro.
Yeah, we are here, episode 13, Made in Dreams podcast, season 2. I am your host, Mighty Vicious, here with Jamie, the governor, James,
The
and
governor. Don't give me that accent. I am not from Kent.
the
Please.
governor. And
I'm not from Peaky Blinders. Okay, I'm from
aren't you?
Swinton.
Aren't you
No.
though? You aren't you? Come on, come on. And our guest here to outshine us all. It is Tap Giles,
Uh,
ladies and gentlemen. How you
Hello.
doing? Indeed, indeed. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Tap, tell us about you. Give us your background.
I'll start with when I was working a normal job. I was a web developer for probably 5 to 10 years. Uh, but kind of my mind slowly unraveled with like depression, anxiety, and whatnot. Um, and then a few years later, Dreams came out, um, and I got in on the beta, which luckily, and I really enjoyed it and stuff. And then, kind of halfway through the the heartbreaking interim while we were waiting for early access, um, I started writing Dreams documentation without even having Dreams, just based on tutorials that other people had already made and stuff like that. Because I wanted it. It's such a complex beast that I felt like people would find that really useful. And then once early access came back, then I started helping people just on Reddit and Twitter and stuff. Um, and slowly just kind of decided I wanted to make this a job somehow, and I've just been pretending like it's a job since. uh, yeah, and so now I also make video tutorials and little clips that I call daydreams on Twitter, showing just how to make like one specific thing, just kind of sped through sort of thing. Um, but also help people on different forums and places, and also um, I I provide services like investigation videos, which is kind of like a specialized tutorial for like I have this problem. Can you go in and show me how to fix it? Things like that, or doing a consultation, which is a one-on-one voice chat share play, where we can just discuss whatever problems they're having in dreams, or how do I do this, and I teach them. um, and that's proven to be quite productive for people as well. So yeah, I just, in all the ways I can, I try to um, help people understand how to use dreams.
I, yeah. So I mean, I know I'm trying to decide how I want to go at that because you know that's an interesting background as far as well what you chose to share as far as the programming, depression, and then coming back. Like, what? How long was it between the day job? Choosing to walk away from that and going directly into dreams. Like, was it an immediate
Mm.
crossover that just timed out, or you know?
Um, it was it was 10 years um, since I became unable to work a normal day job, until until I was able to. So I was on like benefits and stuff because I couldn't work, um, and that was slowly driving me insane as well. But luckily, a a a benefactor, I will say, um, supported me for about a year, like financially. So it was 10 years up to that point. Uh, and I've been doing this for a couple of years now, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess because you went into, how you just started working on, I call it, whenever anyone asks me, where's something, a resource that I can just, you know read about dreams, I always call it your manifesto, the tap manifesto. And so, I mean, what you said, you just started writing it up, but like there doesn't seem to be a tie between what's become your role in dreams, as I guess the role, I don't want to say role because you obviously can do anything and more, but like the teacher role in dreams, I'm surprised to see that that's not necessarily uh that's not really directly tied to what you were doing before, because I feel like
Mm.
it takes that kind of, you know I guess the drive and love of that thing to become like a teacher. So you're saying it was just your love of dreams, period, and waiting for to get your hands back on it after the beta.
Kind of, yeah. Um, I'm trying to. It's been a while. Trying to think back. Um, but yeah, I so my mind works in a particular way, which on the one hand kind of gives me things like depression and anxiety. On the other hand, makes me uh, be able to be kind of hyper focused on a thing, and 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 kind of be have the curiosity to kind of deep dive into it, sort of thing, um, and explore it fully and pick it apart. So that helped me in my day job of programming, because um, I had to like replicate a design for a website, and then I'd be hyper focused on like the measurements and the code to make it work, and the kind that kind of creativity of the going really in depth on some minutia is kind of what I enjoy, and that's what I enjoy about dreams. Um, so like in the beta, I was more just using the tools and making art and sculpts and like building out a scene and things like that. But as I went on, I think probably because I didn't have access to it, so I couldn't just noodle around making scenes. Then my natural inclination to just like go really in depth on some topic kind of kept me going through the hiatus, um,
Okay.
and started writing stuff up. And that's how I like the dreams documentation is like just a huge thing. Um, I think it's 60,000 words,
Wow.
Yeah, the
and
manifesto.
um,
And I doubt that that's finished either. I mean, there's probably so much more
yeah,
you can add to it, isn't there?
yeah. There's always like new features they've added, or
Mm.
features that they didn't tell anyone about that we find out,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and extra sections to add and things. Yeah, but yeah, go on.
Well, other than the beta, like, did you have any other, I guess, game development experience? Did
Um,
you come from, well, I'm sure, well, did you come from Little Big Planet or Project Spark or,
no,
no?
no, I played the first Little Big Planet kind of as a player, just the and mainly just the ones that came on the disc, sort of thing. But just sort of bounced off of the create tools. Um,
Mm.
uh, and and as time went on, I tried like other things like 3D packages, um, and stuff like that, with the view to make games and animate and things. But it's just like uh, it's just such a lot of hard work and learning just to like make a model, and that's without texturing or making it animated or putting it into a game. It's just like so many more steps you have to go through. So when I saw Dreams in like one of the E3 presentations or something, um, and the one where they actually showed a bit of like sculpting and moving things around a scene, it
Yeah.
just really clicked the sculpting part. Um, that it was so easy to just like put down shapes. I don't have to think about like moving these polygons and stuff, which means like in some ways you have less fine-tuned control. But um, but as a beginner, it's a lot easier to think about a sphere and a square, a cube, and they just merge together. Um, so that really drew me into Dreams. But I've always kind of dabbled with making games in like website technology stuff, and Microsoft put out a thing called XNA, a bit of Flash, but never lasted more than like half a game.
Huh. Intriguing. So I have more, but I have a direction that I want to go in, kind of where I went with Zodira. So before we go there, James, did you want to take over with a
Yeah,
line of question?
if you don't mind. Um, so with all the experience that you've had with dreams, and you have a massive amount of experience. I mean, just from your videos alone, it's mind-boggling. Every element that you've tapped into. I know, cheesy, with dreams, but do you have a project of yourself that you're working on? Is there this massive game that you're building with all this knowledge that you behold onto yourself, or are you purely only interested in sort of the teaching element that you've created for yourself?
um, um, so there's I tend to make prototypes of games that I'd like to make and never actually make the game because I just like, oh, I made that bit of logic.
Mm.
What else is it there to do? Let's go and do something else. But there is one that I've had in the back of my mind for a while, which almost no one would like or be able to play. uh, which is kind of I kind of thought about it while playing Lock, where
Okay.
there are like hidden clues in the world and things. But I thought it would be kind of cool if it was like kind of like a hackery type of game where the people have to go out of the game onto into like different elements and remix those elements to see the code in the element. So it relies on you not just playing the game, but the to be able to progress in the game, you have to go outside into the Dreamiverse and find these other clues.
Like a
And
scavenger
so
hunt.
yeah, so like in the game, maybe a really obvious example would be a character tells you go and I forgot what the code is for this door, but it's in here somewhere, and you have to go out and poke around in my brain if you could, and then you have to like go out and remix the element to actually just look at the a note inside the chip or something like that, you know.
Interesting.
So it's like really like esoteric. Probably only the logician type people would
Mm,
be interested in it,
yeah.
but it's kind of an interesting idea I had anyway.
So you never had sort of an original idea when you first realized what dreams was, like, like most of us were like, oh well, I've always wanted to make X type of game, or I've always wanted to make, like Will always wanted to make film, and dreams was the way to do that. So you never initially had a specific thing that you wanted to do with dreams. Was it more of just learning how the tools work, or what was your motivation for dreams in the first place?
Yeah, I I never had like a project that I've always wanted to do from that standpoint. Um, but I enjoyed helping other people make their projects. So in beta, I was mainly on one project called, I think it was called Puzzle Haven,
Mm-hmm.
and it was released with like the hub area and one scene with like puzzles in it. And the person that started the project was like doing the scene with the puzzles, and I built out the hub world and kind of I was allowed to just kind of do whatever I liked with it. So I kind of
Mm.
wrote some bits of dialogue, kind of setting up a bit of um, atmosphere and backstory, which was probably a bit overblown and pretentious, but it was a laugh. Um, and recorded the dialogue, and I was quite proud of it. It was um, I when I can focus on a specific task, but I can do that task however I like. Um, then I seem to thrive in that kind of situation, you know.
Mm.
So I've also helped other people like on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea minus um, with a little team for a the was it for the book, the novel jam, um, where you go through some pages and you've got a pop quiz and you've got to highlight the words,
Mm-hmm.
the right words, the answers, and that was quite fun coming up with the the logic for that and implementing it and stuff. While other people did like built out the scene and the art and the animation. Um, so and most recently, I've been helping Masher Buttons. Um, I helped him kind of fix up Horsey and kind of optimize it a bit and add some features that he wanted added. And then I did all the most of the logic in Strike It Rich with the like little claw that moves out and
Mm-hmm.
grabs stuff. Um, and that's been super fun as well because he does all the art and the music and all that nice stuff, and I can just zone in on kind of what I'm good at and what I enjoy.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna take it back because Jamie's out here taking my questions,
Oh,
but
sorry.
no, I'm just no, no, just playing. So a few weeks ago, before I became too injured to dream, apparently, um, you were helping me out with a logic issue. Made a quick tutorial going over it, changing one character into three, basic thing. And on that thought, it's and having just spoken to Zodir last week, knowing that everyone has their own process, like what would you say is the best way to start learning logic? And I ask this because like I expect the answer to be tutorials, but
It's
but
like go to
the
my Patreon.
yeah, and we gotta plug your Patreon a couple of times during this because
Yes, we
people
do.
I for one love the idea of it. Just because there's so many places. I would say another question down the road is why a Patreon and not a Gumroad, but that's getting into other stuff. So like I said, like everybody has their way, and even with tutorials I have trouble. So like when looking at it, I feel like I understand how it works, but something just always breaks and I can never figure out what I did wrong. So it's kind of like a you know is there another way, like to do it? Is it just simply throwing down a bunch of gadgets and start connecting stuff for no reason? Like
Um, so for like true beginners, um, the in-game tutorials are a very good place to start because they don't go into any of the details. They just say, here's a trigger zone, here's an emitter, you wire the trigger zone to the emitter, and then when you go into the trigger zone, the emitter does something. And um, I think it's a good idea to play with stuff that is very obvious and easy to use right at the start. I'm not saying you're right at the start, but
No, no, you
as
no,
general
that's right.
advice, um, and and kind of make stuff that you know how to make because the tutorials already told you how to make that, and then start thinking about how you can use those things in different ways. Um, you don't have to hook a trigger zone into an emitter. You can hook it into the power of a sculpt so that it disappears, so you can run through or something like that, and just kind of slowly kind of expand and your horizons and learn a little bit more each time, and obviously ask the community if you need help. Um, as for uh, because in general, the more specific the thing you want to make, the harder it is going to be to make that thing, unless Dreams just happens to already do it. So if you just want a character to run around, let the player run around with this character, then you're fine. But if you want a character with like to pick up a sword, then that's a little bit harder because that's a more specific thing that Dreams just doesn't have built in. And if you want them to have like a 3 combo attack, that's a little bit harder. So like on your first projects, just have a guy running around, and on your next project maybe have a guy running around and he can grab a sword, and on your next project add like combos and kind of develop like that. But most people come in thinking they're going to make Skyrim immediately, which is super specific, and
Mm,
almost none of it is just comes with Dreams.
I had
So you
forgotten
got to
this.
like pace yourself, and yeah.
I had forgotten this, and the pace yourself thing. That's the downfall of the way my brain works, is that I constantly want to do way more than I'm capable of. And
Mm.
so it's hard for me to shrink like a big idea down into the small, like, oh, I'll just have him run. You know, it's
Mhm.
like, no, he needs to be able to run and do these triple flips, and and
Got to
it's
do the
all,
parkour.
yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
like I myself am a AAA studio, but it's like how my brain works. But
it's totally understandable though. I think because most people, all they know about game development is finished games by AAA studios, and that's what most people. That's all they know. So when they think of any game they might want to make with any software, they think of it be looking like Uncharted with all the mechanics or something, you know.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's. I think everyone has an element of that for sure.
Mm.
Um,
And
but I think actually the projects you were trying to make with the uh, where it was just one mechanic with the characters swapping out, and you could make the rest yourself. You were saying that's I would say that's a very good project to like amount of stuff to push beyond the boundaries. Um, uh, but again, because the mechanic you want to make is very specific, then and you want it to like work in a very specific way, then it does just make it a bit harder. Um,
yeah,
which isn't to say like it because it's only one step out, it should be easier for you to figure out. But it's just like understanding that it will be harder, and if someone decides it's too hard for them at their current state, then they understand why because it's that very specific thing they wanted. It's not because Dreams is bad or that it just can't do what they want and I'm just going to give up. But just understand that eventually you'll be able to do that.
mm.
But you're trying to do a thing that is difficult.
yeah,
And
Um,
that's the thing, though, isn't it? I mean, that a lot of people fall into when they first look at sort of any creational suite, whether it's Dreams or any other thing. Like you said, people are just so used to the AAA experience, and
mm,
they click square to reload, or or a button to single out a mechanic, you don't actually realize how much work is going on in the background to make Square to Reload work. And
Yeah.
so when people realize that you've got to put all this logic together to make Square to Reload work, it can be very overwhelming and scary. And then you have to go through all the tutorials, and the tutorials might not give you that specific thing that you're looking for, like Square to Reload. And I think that's where people like yourself come in extremely detrimental to the community, where you can just tweet someone like you and say, at Tap Giles, how do I do Square to Reload? And, you'll just say, oh, this is what you do. Here's a
I'm sorry,
video in 20 minutes time. And there you go. That's how you do it.
That's hashtag Ask Tap.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Get
sorry.
away.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
hashtag
like,
AskTam.
but
No, but that's what I mean. It is absolutely detrimental to have people like yourself in a community of a creational suite, because the tutorials that Media Miracle give you are fantastic, and they definitely give you the stepping stones to be able to do everything that you need to do within a certain way. But to get something extremely specific and to be able to have someone to just ask like yourself is just it's needed so much, and it's fantastic that we have someone like you in the community where you can just hashtag ask tap and get what you need.
Yeah.
well, I a few episodes ago, I talked about the only time that I've ever truly been triggered in social media, and that was your conversation that you were having with someone on Facebook. That, like, there was somebody who was like, I wanted to do this specific thing, and you
Oh
came in
yeah,
and
oh
you came
yeah.
in and were trying to help them, and then they like turned it around into like attacking you as being a non-helpful man. The episode after I read that, because I didn't say anything, I wanted to so bad, but I was like, if I come into this conversation, it's going to be a problem. So let me just talk about it. But man, yeah, just know that I mean, you probably do know, but if there's moments where you doubt it, just know that you're appreciated. Because for even continuing the conversation with someone like that was like, I was like, man, Tap is just a good dude. Yeah. Oh, that was so rough.
I'm particularly with this kind of work. I've become very practiced at, like, I'm by no means perfect, and sometimes I don't put things in the right way, but I'm very cognizant of the fact that I'm trying to help someone, and a lot of people aren't very good at being helped. Like uh, sometimes people ask for help but also criticize a thing, and like, are you humble enough to ask for help, or are you proud enough to criticize the thing for it not just magically working? It kind of, I try to keep on the track that you're mainly asking to help, but I also sometimes can't help myself but try and defend um, defend dreams, I guess, to that person, because it's a thing. Because of the way my mind works, I have to work quite hard at trying to communicate clearly, and a lot of people don't try hard to communicate clearly, and it just becomes a problem sometimes, because also I have to work hard to understand clearly as well, but most people don't speak in clear terms, so it sounds like they're saying something different when really they're saying this thing, and so I get caught up on things like that. So it's something that I have to work hard on, to stay in the mode of trying to ignore anything, but uh, giving them any help that they might be able to receive in their frame of mind.
Yeah.
Um,
I fall right in the middle of those two classifications you made, because like the help that you have attempted to give me for that initial issue, as well as some other people from the community, it's like I hear you and I see the messages, but there's still a little bit of pride left in me where I'm just like, you can figure it out. You just don't. You just need to sit down and figure this out. And I might be completely wrong. I might not be able to figure it out. But I'm like, I just want to try a little bit longer before I like hand it
Mm.
over and get help. So like,
It's
yeah.
it's yeah, sometimes uh yeah, that can be frustrating to to I think that's part of why I try to help people so much, is because I feel for I kind of feel their frustration, and uh it sounds too strong, but like anguish. I can picture them trying to make a thing, and they just want the thing to work, but they can't see a way out of it and things like that. It kind of, to me, it feels painful to see that sort of
Oh,
thing.
oh, it is.
So
It's anguish.
I want to, yeah. So so I really want to help them just get over. It's normally a tiny little thing, like with the logic you're trying to make with the swapping characters. It's probably some tiny little thing that was overlooked or wasn't communicated quite clearly enough in some a message in 1,000 messages. Um, but like I just really want to get people over that tiny thing, so then they can carry on in exploring dreams and making the thing they want to make.
Yeah. It's, yeah, I'll get to it once I can dream again because
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
reached that point. But yeah, this, like I said, just know, heavily appreciated. It is anguish, but I know it's my, like, at the end of the day, not for, good or bad, just I would never blame dreams
Mm.
personally. Like, I blame me. I'm like, why don't you get this? And it's like, and I know I'm still reasonable with it. I'm still like there because I said it last week to Zodira as well. I know it's that one thing that I just don't know. I don't
Mm.
know, and trying to figure that out is needle in a haystack situation. But you know,
And the tricky thing from this side of the screen is, um, I don't know the thing you don't know to tell you the thing you don't know, but I really want to tell you that thing. Uh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'd really like to do one of those consultation thingies so that we can uh, go through that and we can discover together the thing you don't know.
yeah. I think see, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I think I would feel a little embarrassed in that situation because I think you would find out that I don't know anything. And so and so so it would become then a thing that's like, let's find out the thing you don't know. Wait, you don't know a lot. Wait, why am I even here yet? And then so like that's where I feel like I am. Like I feel like I'm at a point where I don't know enough that, like, even the basic knowledge, because like the tutorials for, and this is why I feel stuck, because the tutorials feel like school for me, where it's like they tell you a bunch of information. They even, make you do it, but it's broken up in this way where it's like, do this, then do this, then do this. And so I'm like, okay, attach wire and do this. But
Mhm.
I don't retain that way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like even stuff that I did through the tutorial, because I did it on stream. Just one day I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go through all these tutorials again. And it makes perfect sense as I'm going through the tutorial. And then it's like I have no understanding of how to apply it when it comes to something I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not getting something. So I feel like I need to grow as a person and as a human being, and then I can ask Tab.
No, no, that's I'd say that that's a real issue is, um, the in-game tutorials are great for like absolute beginners, um, but they go more along the lines of a series of steps, instructions on this is how to make the thing we want you to make,
Mm.
without necessarily giving you the understanding of why you're doing things and how it really works.
Yeah.
Like it's uh, now and then someone on Reddit or somewhere will ask how to do something that seems really simple and basic, and covered plenty in the tutorials, and they've been through the tutorials like 3 times or something, and they still don't know how to do the thing that they did in the tutorial, because because as you say, like not everyone will extrapolate from a series of steps why they're doing those steps, um, which is how uh, I feel like people probably learn better from understanding how a thing works and why you'd put this together with that, um, and that's kind of how I try to do structure my tutorials. Is and some days like some I stream to record the tutorials. So some streams it's at the end of the stream I'm too tired to explain the how the selector works for the 10th time, um, but I try to kind of um, so like explain the overall thing that we're doing, and then okay, so first we need to like know if the player is in this place. How do we do that? We use a trigger zone. Let's put a trigger zone there, and then we'll have that detector tag in the player. So we'll put a tag in the player and watch the trigger zone that's open with the tweak menu, and then I'll move the tag inside and out to show that when it's inside it's sending a signal, when it's outside it's not sending a signal. Now we've got that part sorted. How can we use that? Well, we want to use while the player is there and they're pressing the square button. So then let's add that step. So I try. The aim is to teach them how Dreams works first and foremost, um, and then how to put things together in general, and then how to make the thing. Whereas the tutorial is just how to make the thing, like the title of the tutorial.
Mm.
But the idea is that people learn how Dreams actually works while doing the thing. Um, yeah, I don't know how successful I am at it, but that's what I try to do every time. Um,
Yeah, I mean, so once again, the Patreon tap Giles.
Mm.
Get in it, guys. Get it. He's not going to shamelessly plug. I'll do it for him. Um, which which I guess brings me to that one of my last real like I guess questions that non-organic questions, which is like as a person who's monetized outside of Dreams, like what are your thoughts on the monetization of Dreams? Like a lot of people have been talking about it lately and wondering, you know, what you think is as far as someone who has done it, um, I guess through an outside platform.
um, so uh, I think some sort of monetization of Dreams is a good idea. Um, I try to I try to um, with opinions on stuff like this. I try to kind of tread a bit lightly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to say it's like inevitable or necessary or whatever, because I don't know what other things have in store. But I think if you want someone to dedicate a lot of time to making a project like on your platform, and to keep doing that like ad infinitum, then um, they won't be able to do that unless they are able to justify it kind of financially, to be able to not do their day job to do dreams, and there's a lot of people that do dreams exclusively or just a lot right now that get some money from it, from just subscribers on Twitch or things like that, or through Patreon. But there's no one that I know of that is making enough from dreams to like completely live off of doing that. And I feel like that would be a cool thing to happen. Whether that's like streamers and helpers, or content creators in dreams. But um, I think there would be nothing bad coming from that as a concept. But when discussing things like this online, then there's at least like a third of people that respond that are very against anything to do with money touching dreams, like outside of buying dreams in the first place, and then everything should be free no matter what from whoever. And I think they're responding to their idea of what monetizing dreams would be, but that's not necessarily what's going to happen, and it's and it's most likely not what is going to happen. Like everything, you can't get anything on dreams without paying for it. You can't use anyone's assets. You can't play any game without paying extra. But I can't see that happening at all, even though I'm kind of for monetization in some way, because Media Molecule aren't stupid, and Sony aren't stupid. Doing something like that would kind of, people say, oh no, you can't have monetization because it would fundamentally change the create, play, share dream of dreams, and it would if they made everything behind a paywall, but so that just won't happen. So if they do monetize it, it will still be create, play, share in some other way.
Yeah,
yeah,
I completely agree. I think one way around it that might be able to help is by keeping the monetization for outside of dreams, because obviously the Dreamiverse needs to stay the way it is, where you create something, you release it, and then anybody else in dreams can play it for free. That's the whole point. It's just this community driven creational space, and you shouldn't have to pay to be able to play those games. I think a support button would be very beneficial to dreams, like maybe link it to like a Patreon or something where you can choose to support if you want to, kind of like GitHub, where you can choose to support the person that's made something, or you can download it for free. It's completely up to you. I think something like that would be definitely great to add to dreams, so the people that really like the project and want to support the player has the option to. And I don't know, it's a very difficult subject, because monetization could break dreams if it's not done correctly, and I think it needs to be done in a way that allows you to still do everything you can now, but also give you more if money's involved.
And I like the term of professional dreamer. Like the I see in 10 years, basically I see this or I guess my dream for dreams is that I see it taking over as like changing the way that people do everything. Like whether I look at tutorials for like Blender. Like I've always been really interested and loved Blender and how it kind of attacks everything. which to me Dreams has replaced that now. But I look at the like when people do these like really expansive things on Blender now, I watch it and I'm just like, good God, if you, I wonder what you would do if you had dreams. And so, like it's so much more complicated to work in like in that way that I'm just like, I wonder if anyone's ever showed them dreams and if they just had if their mind just exploded because it's so much easier in that sense, like because you can understand and it's in shapes and not points and vertices and polygons, like it's just it's easier. And so for me, I feel like the only way that one can take it to that next step of being a professional dreamer is for the right type of monetization to come. But people are taking offense to the idea of a professional dreamer. And that's something that I've learned recently just because I don't know if you saw Saku put out a new reel that he put together. And it talks about being a professional, using it to take his art professional and become a professional artist. And people were like, a professional, calm down. And I'm like, why? Like, it's no one looks at, I guess, a digital painting and they're like, oh, did you use Photoshop? It's like, no, I used Metabang Pro, Paint Pro. And they're like, ugh, well, that's not professional. Like, I've never heard that. So,
Yeah.
it's like if the work stands for itself, and it does, and I feel like
Yeah,
there
the
is,
platform shouldn't matter.
yeah, the platform doesn't matter, and I mean, with the things that everyone's creating, like I definitely want a way for people to make money, and we have talked about this many times before, but just kind of to wrap it up, I don't mind if people personally monetize. Like that's, like you've done with Patreon. It's just whatever works. But yeah, Media Molecule and Sony definitely have to do it right to
Yeah.
officially monetize.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it's an official feature of Dreams, it has to be done right. Anything apart from that, like people doing their own thing is like people do their own thing anyway. There's nothing you can do to stop them doing their own thing. There was the discussion about uh, people wanting to help or on a dream or give voice acting and things like that in exchange for money, like a freelance job. People do freelance jobs for all industries, and if it's between if someone wants to pay that, then the why are other people telling them not to or saying that it's going to destroy dreams and stuff? So as you say, anything not officially endorsed or whatever should be completely fine.
Yeah,
Free game.
like Martin Nebelong, for instance, he uses Dreams as his platform of choice for commercializing. He does his work and he charges for his work by using Dreams, and because he finds that he can make the same quality of content 3 times faster, so he can get 3 times more work done because of Dreams. And there's nothing stopping anybody that has a certain level of skill that can be used to be paid for using Dreams in the same way. So, there's plenty of ways to monetize Dreams yourself. It's just the official monetization that's very, you got to be careful with how it goes. I mean, another way of monetizing Dreams would be when exportation eventually becomes a thing, if it ever does, would be that you have to pay to export. And, there's a certain pay level. Like if you want it exported to just work on consoles, it's so much. If it's for mobile, it's this much. If you want it to work on all platforms, it's a set price. That could be a way that they could monetize, because everybody would love the idea of being able to export their project and it work on whatever platform they wanted. So I mean, you don't necessarily have to monetize the Dreamiverse itself.
Yeah,
they could just monetize sections within Dreams that doesn't affect anybody at all, and
yeah.
it's purely just to take it out,
I
so
feel
the Dreamiverse itself stays safe.
okay. So this is a question I have. Just thinking of what you just said. Like you can export like assets and stuff like that, but there's you can't export a game. Like, can you to another thing?
No,
Like,
not
it
yet.
seems like you would. No, I mean not that they have it yet. I mean you literally can't do it because it's a different engine. Like, you can't just take a game made with the logic of Dreams,
No, no, yeah.
and put it onto
So
something else.
it would be
No, but if they made a way that it would work, like if it was self-contained,
yeah,
then
if you
it
think of
then it
like
would.
Unity has like custom engines for different platforms, but the same like project is exported for those platforms and runs on those platforms. So
Mm,
they could do the same kind of thing with Dreams, although the hardware would have to be um, beefy enough to run Dreams itself.
mm.
Um, but it's something that's possible.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
It's
Well,
a
that I
it's a
mean that's just
it's a black hole when it comes to this type of topic.
yeah. It's just I mean I just know that technically I don't understand it because like really it's while I've like wanted to
Mm,
do the story for a game or something like that like my want to create a game just started. Like it just
mm,
started. Even after Dreams dropped, I was like, I'm still here for movies. And I was like, hey, I can make a small game. Like that thought is like a few weeks old now. So like,
Mhm.
I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how that would work. So yeah, that's why I was like, could you export it? Because it feels like it's like written in a different language. Then I just don't know. So, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff in chat. So yeah, maybe I'll
I
read up
mean,
on that.
it. I might be completely biased, but I just see that Media Molecule could do it. I mean, if they can manage to code Dreams and make it work for the console on a base PS4 as well as it works, I don't think they'd have an issue, writing some code to convert it into like an iOS app or an Android app, or convert it so it works on another console or so it works on Steam. Granted, it probably take a very long time because, Dreams took
Yeah.
10 years to develop, but I think they definitely have the skill and the manpower to create a conversion tool that would sort of export it to whatever format you wanted it in.
Huh. I see you saying it and me thinking about how it could be done just doesn't I'm like he makes it sound like they could just hit the button and do this
No,
I
no,
feel
but
like
that's not the case. That's
I
not the
feel like
case.
they can't and nor should they. Like it just seems like way more in to that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. So
Mm.
I guess let me get to this then to kind of move away from that topic. Um, so I'm trying to gauge your power level, Tap. So
It's over 9,000.
yeah, it really
Hey.
is. I know it is, but like, what would you say is what's the most difficult project you've worked on so far? Like the thing where you're like, okay, doing that was like it almost broke me, even if you enjoyed it.
Um, uh, that's kind of the beauty of being a wanderer in the Dreamiverse. Is I go on very few projects, um, and at least now that I've learnt my lesson from other projects, I go on a project when I know I can do it, and I can get
Mm.
in and get out, and then just that's fine. Like I said before, like a very specific thing, go in and focus, highly focus on it, and then job done, and I don't have to stress about it after that. Um, so uh, so yeah, I don't really have anything that any projects that I've been on where I've made something that was super duper difficult and I didn't know how to do. Um, uh, yeah, the only thing I can think of was for 20,000 Leagues, Um, so I don't know if you played it, but you control a pen and like flip through the book to different pages, and then you press a button to like push it. Just plays an animation where it pushes down and draws a line
Yeah.
and figures out if that's the right answer and stuff. There was a lot of logic going on in there, especially as we had no imp tracker at the time. So it used like a crazy logic setup to even figure out where I was pointing with the imp. Um, but that was quite rewarding, getting it all to work in the end, and coming up with kind of weird solutions to get things to work that I hadn't used before. That's quite a rewarding thing. Um, yeah.
So now let's compare that to Strike It Rich, which you made with masher buttons. Like how difficult compared to that was doing like working on that game.
Um, I think Strike It Rich was easier, probably mainly because um, I'm a year wiser in dreams. um, so I have a lot more kind of crazy tricks to draw on, sort of thing. Um, but but again, yeah, it wasn't so. I went on the project. I hadn't made like an arm that went like that and then grabbed a thing specifically before, but I knew I had an idea in my head how I would put things together. Um, so yeah, there's still some bugs with it if you're unlucky enough to come across them. Um, but it was fun with um, so it was for a jam, so there was like a limited period of time, but also it wasn't like a bit of logic that was a bit too big to to handle in the time. So I got most of it done quickly, and then like finessed it as time went on, and Masher added more items and things to pick up. Um, uh, yeah, so it was pretty fun. Um, there's one thing that I have never. So I still prototype things, and sometimes they just don't work out. And there's a, a few that I bash my head against over and over again and haven't been able to beat yet. Um, one of them is physically driven vehicles. Um, because of the way physics works in dreams, the joints can kind of collapse and fire the whole thing off into the sky and things like that. And there are tricks to get it to not do that. And I understand some of it, but not enough of it to make a whole working vehicle that like steers around. For some reason, steering is way harder than getting the wheels to work in the first place. I don't know how I'm managing to get that wrong. Um, Another thing is proper path finding. So ACERT has had a few runs at it and has kind of different versions of pathfinding kits um, that I've tried to pick apart, but I haven't been able to understand them. uh, but I understand like the principle of how that kind of algorithm works from a coding standpoint, but getting it to work in dreams has been difficult for me to make. So if someone wants me to come on a project that has pathfinding in it, I probably won't say yes because I don't know how to do it yet.
All right.
But on the same token, um, I do understand how to make a car not using physical stuff. So like working around it and having a different way of doing it with movers and whatnot. And I have a form of pathfinding where like a guard can have a patrol route and go on that patrol route, and then if they spot you, they come after you. But they don't get lost in the scene if they lose you. They can walk back to their patrol route.
Yeah.
but without actual pathfinding. It's all kind of tricks and smoke and mirrors.
Mm.
But that's kind of my approach to most problems in dreams. Is instead of kind of brute forcing it with a lot of maths and algorithm type stuff, I do my best to find shortcuts and little tricks to make it generally simpler to understand, and then I can make it more complex to work the way I want it. Um, I think that comes partly from um, everything becoming it will become a tutorial
Mm.
kind of mindset. So I have to be able to not just make it, but um, make it simple enough for other people to understand generally what's going on.
Mm.
So yeah.
So a lot of process goes into methodically, like how you do something to make sure that it works in a way that also works for your tutorials. That's quite interesting. It's
Mm,
quite a brainstorm you have to do then when you're figuring stuff out.
mm.
Do you work in pencil and paper at all?
No, no, I just go straight into dreams basically.
Just straight into dreams? Huh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Now,
I've heard a couple of people say that they do, and I was
Mm.
wondering, is that at all helpful? Looking for every way in, baby, every way in. No, but go ahead,
Yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah. People.
No,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
oh
Jimmy, you look
well,
like you had something to say.
yeah, I was gonna add, like, you've gone into every element in dreams, whether it be logic, animation, sculpting, music. You've gone into every element of dreams. Is there a favorite of yours? Do you like prefer sculpting over logic? Is music your favorite part? Do you have a favorite part in dreams that you like to work in?
Um. Hmm. Hard to say my favorite, but I do. So I do a lot of logic,
Mm.
and I do enjoy. So at the moment, I'm doing these daydream short videos for YouTube, um, where I have like a new thing um, being made in the video, and I post one every day. So I kind of tend to do those in batches. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
have notes of um, things people have wondered how to make, and there isn't really a clear tutorial for yet. But I don't have the time to like stream and edit the tutorial and everything in a
Mm.
reasonable amount of time. So then I just do one of these short things. So that I quite enjoy making a very highly focused thing, and then it's just out the door, and someone will find it useful. Um, from a logic standpoint. On the other side, I do enjoy music, although I don't really do it much. So um, back in the day, I'd use Fruity Loops, and
Mm-hmm.
I was on, I think it was Music 2000
Oh
on
wow, yeah. On
one
the
of the
place,
PlayStations.
it was on PlayStation 1 Music 2000. I
Yeah.
remember that days, yeah.
Um, I actually took music GCSE, and um, we were in put into set groups of people, and were meant to make a track together.
Mm-hmm.
But no, everyone else was. I was like an overachiever. I just want to do the work kind of person. And the other people in the group were just more into messing about in music class.
Mm.
Um, so I made a whole track in Music 2000 and recorded it onto a cassette tape to take in as our like um, homework sort of thing. That
Mm-hmm.
was quite fun. Um, and yeah, so I've enjoyed music and making music for a while, but just don't tend to do it very often. But when I do spend a while on a single track, it's pretty cool in dreams, and I've been able to mess with um, ideas that I've never even heard of before dreams, like the compression, dynamic range compression, and
Mm-hmm.
mixing, and the granular synthesis and stuff like that. And it can be a lot more therapeutic just chilling out and making music
Mm.
for me than making a piece of logic specifically to
Yeah.
help someone. Yeah. kind of, yeah.
So what you're saying is holiday season, the Tap Giles mixtape is dropping for all the heads out there. Lo-fi tap, right? Right? All right.
I will
Hey,
probably get in on. I have gotten in on all the mashups, which has been fun.
Mm.
And I will probably. I was in on the last year's Dreamiverse song contest, and I'll probably make something for this year's as well.
awesome.
But yeah, so music will come eventually now and then.
I just
Yeah.
imagine you creating a brain out of Logic that is connected to every instrument through Logic, and it just creates its own music. Is like this is tap, and it's just all just a
The last,
brain.
the last music track in Dreams.
Yeah. uh,
uh,
go ahead, Jimmy.
I was just gonna say, like the music side of Dreams is so different to sort of your standard, DAW like Fruity Loops or Logic. It's so much more creatively free, I would say, than any other digital audio workplace. The way that you can create music in Dreams, and you have all these plugins as presets, like you said, the granular compression and the oscillators and everything. To do all that stuff in like a normal sound system is so much more complex than what Dreams makes it. It's just so easy and organic to do it in Dreams. And like you would have to download 20-30 different patches from different websites to integrate with the software you have to just even start to have the features that that Dreams audio thing gives you. I just absolutely love it. I love messing with the music in Dreams, and I have not gone back to Logic since, and I don't think I ever would. I love the freedom too much with it.
Cool.
I don't have that history of music, so I never used Fruity Loops. I know I had it like once and was like, "What am I doing?" And I never, I just never went back. So for me, just having like the update where I could just simply play my guitar into it, that's good. That'll be, and then once I have that, I might be like, oh well, let's go in and throw some other instruments behind it, and that'll be like my doorway into the music portion, because it's like I already have a start off point where I can be like, okay, well I can put just that out and be happy, but now I can go in and mess with things to try to figure out how it works, because like I said, I'm still suffering from that first time I tried to mess around with it. My wife laughed at me and I was just like, fine. I guess I don't do music.
But that's the thing. I mean, anybody can do music with Dreams. I mean, they make it so easy for you to just jump in and create something.
Yeah, so easy. Yeah.
Well, I'm not I wouldn't class myself as a musician at
You
all.
make
Like,
music.
yeah, but I'm not that good at it. But
Sir, this is completely opposite of everything I know about you in music. You're usually very confident about your music. Like when you say anybody can do it, I'm like, obviously not everybody.
I would no, but I would say if like how they say anybody can make something in Dreams, like anybody can make a game in Dreams. There's a lot of learning involved with making a game. You have to do a lot of tutorials. You have to do a lot of homework to be able to make anything. Whereas I feel, at least with the music side, anybody could easily jump in and play some instruments and put something together and make a track of sorts without having to really need to learn hardly anything about the music system in Dreams. That's just how I see it anyway. I might be completely wrong, but because I've had experience with other music tools before, but like jumping into Dreams, it was like, this is just so simple. Like it took me months to learn how to use Logic Pro just to get around the interface and where all the features was, what buttons do what, what do I need to download to make this certain type of sound. There was so much work involved when I got Logic Pro to just be able to put something together. Whereas with Dreams, it's just so easy to just mash everything together and make a track.
Well, wouldn't that be because of your experience with Logic?
Probably, but
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's all. That's all I'm saying. Um, and let's see. Trix9 says you just have to be okay making bad music, and then it's easy. It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
simplify the process.
it would.
Be like, this is
I,
crap. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still music, though.
It's still
It's
music.
still a song.
yeah, I think they've really succeeded in their goal of making things accessible.
Mm.
So one person might not be able to get something they're satisfied with when playing with the music tools, but it's I feel like it'll be a way fewer people that bounce off of it than bounce off of Logic
Mm.
and things like that, particularly when it comes to kind of music theory stuff, because um, if 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 you don't have something like the performance mode in Dreams, where you are locked into a key and you can just press all the buttons and it will sound roughly okay, then you kind of, to make things that sound roughly okay, you have to learn a lot of music theory stuff.
Mm. Mm.
That is a big barrier for a lot of people, I would think. So yeah, I think that feature alone is really big.
Oh yeah, I mean they could have
Yeah.
easily released the music side on its own as its own package, and it
Mm.
would have been plentiful. Just Dreams are so expansive in what it offers; it's crazy. Blows my mind every day.
Yeah.
Really
Isn't
does.
it currently on sale until the end of April for those
It
that may
is.
not have it in
It's
the
Yes, it's
insane.
it's half price right now,
I don't
which
understand
is
what's going on.
insane. It's insane. It's like I think here it's like 12 quid. It's just like absolutely criminally cheap.
Now, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here, but somebody responded to Media Molecule when they posted it on Twitter. I think it was 2 days ago now,
Okay.
and somebody was like, as long as it's not going to be on PlayStation like Plus next month, I'll go ahead and buy it. And they were like, you'll be okay. So maybe we were wrong, like, because
Ooh.
we've been saying recently, like,
Yeah, we have.
I see it going to PlayStation Plus and just being that thing that if you have Plus, you have access to Dreams. But if they change their mind, I ain't gonna hold it against them. But I found it interesting that someone brought it up and they did just straight come out and be like, "Yo, you don't be worried." And I was like, "Oh, okay," because
Ooh.
it.
I mean, at this point, for the price they're offering it, they might as well just give it away. It's just ridiculous how cheap it is. And this is not the first time that they've done a big sale on Dreams either. They've done it in the past, and there's no excuse to not own Dreams at this point for the price that they're offering it at. It's just like you get a whole game creation suite, a whole film suite, an art suite, and a music suite for 12 quid. I mean, try and find
Yeah.
that anywhere else on the internet, and you're going to be paying hundreds of thousands to have access to all those features. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I've really, every time I see the things that everyone does, I just keep thinking about that 10 years, and I'm like, this is gonna
I
this
mean,
is gonna destroy people, like, or
it
destroy, like, the multiple industries are just going to have to take this, like,
yeah.
it's this thing that everybody's like, oh, it's a game. Like, I don't like calling it a game, but it is. But it's also not. But game slash creative suite, whatever. But like, I just keep thinking about all the stuff that, like, I told you all about my friend who has like a toy company, and they
Mhm.
make like the collectible toys, and he was trying to learn how to sculpt in like uh Blender and something else, and I was just like, man, if we had the export at this moment, I would just be like, yo, just go Dreams, like,
Mm.
just go to Dreams.
Yeah.
It just makes more sense to I would think, and maybe this could be jaded because the artistic mind, it speaks to me, but I have to believe that it's way more accessible than the status quo of what most programs run on these
Mm.
days. You know, I look at somebody creating like a just something as simple as like a tire, and when I see them doing it using the vert points and all this other stuff, I'm just like, wow.
I know.
I wonder if they know. Like, I
It's
wonder if
and
they know.
also like lately, I don't know if it's just me, but I've seen a lot more styles come into Dreams within the last few weeks as well. Like that croissant game where you're feeding the cats the croissants, like that's so
Mm.
well done. Why Led Better's Rover on Mars, like there are so many new styles coming into Dreams that you don't necessarily see because people obviously still learning how to create these styles. But it's like every week we're getting a new style from people in Dreams. It's like this is just another thing Dreams can do, and it really does boast the point that anything is possible with Dreams. And like every week we're finding out more things that is possible because people are devoted to this one style that they're trying to do. And it's crazy. Like that croissant thing, I can't remember the name of it, but you've all saw it where he's throwing croissants to cats. It's just like
Yeah.
Is it like
it I
Pets
would.
Cafe something?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Pets
Yeah.
Cafe, and it's just like, how have you made that style? It's just I'd love to just watch a video of start to finish how that was done because the people in the Dreamiverse are just blowing up lately with amazing content, and it's just going to be wild to see where the next few years is going to take us. And I think it's definitely going to be an eye opener for artistic studios and things, where they're making these styles and other programs that cost, for business licenses, thousands and thousands of dollars a year to have the licenses to use these programs to create the same fidelity of style that people are making with a game that is currently £12. Like, I think it's going to really open the eyes of a lot of studios and maybe be like, well, why don't we just move to Dreams? We can do the same thing we can do in the software we're using and save thousands of pounds doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if they could just if they could make it so Adobe drops their price, that would be amazing. Because I swear Adobe just like is just like the rich baron overlooking the lands, and I'm just like, guys, why does it cost so much? Um, but yeah, so that's I mean, that's basically it for me. It's just I want
Mm.
everybody to have their place in Dreams, and I think everyone has a place, and maybe multiple. It's just you, it'll be there. Well, even if you want to stick to your lane, because I've thought many times, like, yo, man, okay, you know what? You're doing good at sculpting. You're learning. You're getting real. You're getting to where you wanted to be. Just have someone else do the logic for you. And I like that there's that option, but then there's also or you could stop being a crybaby and learn logic. And like, so you like, it's giving it, like I said last week, it's a place for where you can come in for one thing and leave with so many other
Mm. Yeah.
skills and possibilities. And I think that in itself is like the real PowerPoint of Dreams is just, you might come in for music, but then you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll do this sculpting, or maybe you go in and you're doing the music for a game, and then they're like, hey, we need a voice. Oh, now you're a voice actor. Like, just the level of experience that you can expand upon within just even one project.
Mm.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I,
definitely. I when I was at school, I uh, I first thought of it with the music class actually. How I thought people like in a music class you tend to just use a keyboard most of the time, but there's lots of other instruments and like virtuosos with violin or trumpet or all
Mm.
sorts, and kids don't even touch anything apart from like one thing if they take music, and and they've got to decide their subjects while they're still really young and they don't really understand those subjects yet, and they don't understand what they're interested in. I always thought it would be great to just try like a little bit of like thousands of different things to like see what actually piques your interest and see what's actually out there that you could do as your career. With dreams, you can try lots of different things all in the same place on a whim. There's no barrier to entry. You can just, oh, now I'm making music, and now I'm making a sculpt all in the same place. I didn't even leave the same scene.
Yeah.
And that lets people stumble on these new passions that they never knew they had, and become things like interior designers and artists and musicians, when they never thought they would go down that route.
Yeah.
And I guess with that, is there anything you would like to end on, Tap? It's something you really want the people to know.
There was actually a talking point I had in mind,
I'm
um,
ready.
that may be a whole can of worms, or it may just fizzle out and die. Either is fine. Um, so on this podcast before, you talked about kind of how difficult it is to market dreams, and how because it does everything, it's like, who is it for, and whose interest is going to be piqued by everything. um, and and I thought that it could be cool to have very specific, zoned in trailers for dreams. So it's not a trailer for everything. It's dreams is racing, and all you see are racing games, and all the different styles of racing games maybe, but people will be um, people that enjoy just racing games are going to be more likely to consider picking up dreams if they see, oh, it has a load of racing games and it's all for like the £20, um, and more racing games are being added every week or whatever. And then another advert that is dreams is solving, and you have all these different kinds of puzzle games, um, uh, that people make, and more are added, and the people that are really into puzzle games will be a lot more interested in that than the racing game trailer. But that's kind of the whole point. You go like very narrow slices,
Yeah.
and but it's all for the same thing that they're buying, but all they're buying it for is for one specific thing. But once they're in there, then they see all the variety of other styles, types of games that they've never really been into, but they may as well try, or the creative side that they may as well try as they're there, and things like that. It might be like a way of marketing it without trying to go the whole universe in one hit, sort of thing.
Yeah, I definitely think it's possible, and that this is where I agreed or disagreed with Jamie, because he was like, it's too, it's difficult to do all these things. I'm like, no, it's not to me, at least. It's just, yeah, you can attack it as different things, but I also still think it's possible to attack it all as one thing. Like, no matter what, one of the fastest growing demographics of gaming in the last 10 years has been indie games. Like that's where people go for originality and, honestly, to remind themselves why they love gaming, against a lot of the major releases that have been coming out. And I think just to, if anything, maybe like two advertisements. One is like, hey, do you like art? Get in here, mother. You know,
Maybe not as forceful as that, but
no,
yeah.
I mean, that'll be my own personal advertisement, as I did when they dropped their price online. I was like, yo, do you do art? Like, do you do things? Then get in here. But it could be as simple as that. And then have the other side be like, hey, do you want a never ending, all time growing, just library of games to play? Here you go. Like, I think just those two simple things, like, that's all you need. I don't consider that hard. It seems pretty easy.
The tricky thing is they're on, at least that I've seen, there aren't adverts for Steam. which is a never ending library of games that's always growing. And so Steam is free because they can't sell it. Um, and like with indie games, it would be difficult to make a trailer getting people to buy into indie games, like as a concept or whatever. They might buy one game here and one game there, but if someone is completely not into indie games at all and only play AAA games, um, it might be hard to make like a 2 minute video convincing them to give indie games in general a try, because but it might be easier to sell Cave Story,
Mm.
for example, to like be super specific about what you're getting, and a specific person will really be into that specific thing and go for it.
Wait,
So I can understand both points of view.
yeah, Noter, go ahead and copy that and paste that to me in a personal message. That's the solo. That's what we're going to talk about on Solo Imps right there. That is the perfect thing to go at on that. I just had to I had to get it out there because I'll forget with all the things I do. So, well, I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about your Dreams Is campaign. Well, that maybe we'll have Noter and Tap back on for Solo Imps to talk about it. But yeah, so I just it's not as hard as they seem to think. I just don't think it is. Like, even if you do have to have that thing where it's fractured advertising, like I know. Like, and once again, maybe I'm just being biased because like I said, I waited for Dreams for 15 years. Like, from the time I started complaining that something like it didn't exist to when it finally came out. Like, if you've been on this channel, as I know some of you have, for the last 5 years, you've heard me talk about this in different instances. But yeah, like, that's why no matter what, I don't intend to ever leave Dreams. And it's because someone actually gave me what I wanted. So I have no choice now but to back it. And then it's actually good. And by good, I mean great. By great, I mean amazing. So it's like, but that's what makes it seem like it's just not that hard. Because, I mean, just for people like me who wanted film, like, if you were to say, hey, here's a bucket load of assets, you can make all the, like, you could put together all the scenes you want and go ahead and just make it and then put it on YouTube. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. What drew you to Dreams was specifically the kind of filmmaking aspect of it, sort of thing. So,
Yes.
so then, would it be feasible to say that you weren't drawn in by the fact you could do everything with Dreams, that you could make games and you could make art and stuff like that, but you really wanted to be able to make films in an easy way, and that's why you were so hyped for Dreams?
No, it was definitely everything, but it was everything to that end point. Like, I'm the type of person where I'm not going to just take everybody's stuff. Like, there's a specific thing, like, that's why, I've put out a short film that was completely just me doing what I could do, but that was like the initial excitement of, like, oh my God, this thing is here, I can do it. But even within that thing, I wouldn't just take someone's characters. Like, it has to have my print on it, or I'm not happy. But the idea that someone could, because a lot of people don't have the hangups I do, they're like, that guy already has a character, so I'll just use that. Like, I can't do that. But that's why I can say it was the whole thing that brought me in. Like, yes, I wanted to make film, but I wanted to be part of the making too. So, like, the idea of, even though I'm not good at music, I've dabbled a couple times, and I'm like, well, I know what I want to do, but I'm going to have to learn to do that. So let me just focus on this and get good at the piece I feel like clicks best with me. But yeah, I mean, film,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
I can understand.
I think it's like, it's why I feel for people who are waiting on things like exporting, because I'm just like, it came with that for me. Like, you know,
Already done.
yeah, that's why I kind of, I kind of really want to see that for people, but why I also believe that film, of course, it's my love of film making this bias as well, but, film is something that they really should focus on. Because while people are like, oh, I can't wait to be able to get this game out, it's like, oh, well, you could have already put a movie out. Like you could have already put together how many short films and done all this stuff. Like, that's why, I thought it was really important back with I think I was speaking with Imbergs, and was it Imbergs? I think it was Imbergs, where it's like, whenever people talk about all the things that, they're like, other people are like, hey, we can't wait for you to add this, can't wait for you to add this, and all these things. And and it's a little hard for some people who are like, well, you have everything you need. And it's like, well, no, you have everything you need. These certain things, like, these would help people who want to do other things than just that thing you do. And so, like, that's why for me, I've kind of been waiting for the audio thing to be lifted. Because I'm just like, to some people, they're like, hey, just record it in 15-second bits. And it's like, that's not an option. Like, like not for me. Because again, you imagine being voicing a character, and people have done it, mind you, but including myself, but voicing a character, trying to give this like performance, and having to stop and start your emotion. Like, that's really not an easy thing to do. Like, it's like if you wanted to sing and you hold a note for 20 seconds, or you hold a note at the end of a line for a certain amount of time, having to stop that note and then start that note back up again, that's just not doable. That's not
I
something
just
like,
need to use Tom's choir.
Yeah.
We're complaining about.
so
I love Tom's choir is so fun to play with. I love that. It's so funny. But they've moved that now, haven't they, to future update, like the increase on music, like doing a WAV file through in Dreams. That's coming out within the next update, I believe. If you look at their Trello, so that's going to be really fun to play with.
Let it slip in a stream. It seemed like she let it slip. It might have been just planned, totally fine, but it felt like it because it was just in chat.
Yeah.
I think that'll open doors for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
So, Imbergs, I see that you're here, and I may have just attributed a conversation to you that wasn't you, but I'm not sure if I did or not. So maybe you'll let me know. But I know I was speaking
But now
to somebody.
you have to back up those opinions from here on out.
Yeah.
Now you must fight. Based on
defend yourself.
No. Because what I mean is, like, he was definitely like saying what, in my opinion, is the right side of the conversation. If it was Imbergs, where it's just like, yeah, like, you do have to remember that there are multiple dreams being encapsulated in dreams. And so, like, while you may be satiated with certain things, when other people are trying to get what they feel they need, you kind of have to just be like, okay, well, I might not need that to do what I'm doing, but I do have to give some credence to the other people because it would make their life easier. Now, like I said, I don't know if that's what you said or if someone said it and I attributed it to you, but the fictitious you is on the right side of the battle. Okay, take comfort in that.
But I agree with whoever said that. That because the 15-second limit hasn't really hit me in particular, but I completely understand why that would be super frustrating and for other instances. So it's worth considering other people um, and deciding whether it's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think anything that Media Molecule put into Dreams is going to be a good thing. Someone's going to find a use for it and make something crazy with it.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad to add to Dreams, I don't think.
No, as I messaged to Media Molecule about a week ago, I was like, yeah, I would really like these things, and just realized that if you do none of them, I'm still going to be here. Like,
Yeah.
like now people who want to get forceful about it, okay, guys, calm down. just calm down. But yeah, I mean, there are quality of life things that can be done between or for specific crafts. So, yeah. Other than that, and yes, Imberg said his response was dreams doesn't do blank for me was, well, have you considered what blank looks like within those constraints? So that was the conversation I had with him. There was someone else that I was speaking with about the other thing, but yeah,
Okay.
because we were speaking about opera, because like my wife sings operatic, and she was interested in it, and I was like, huh, well, I would love for my wife to sing on someone's stuff. And like, but then I got the game after, or basically when it dropped and they had already reduced the upload time. I told her about the 15-second limit, and she was like, nah, I ain't doing it. She just immediately just took her completely out of Dreams. And I was like, that hurts a little. Like, I hope that changes, because I would really like to hear my wife on Dreams. But so yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, actually, I did tell her the other day that they had said it's in the update. So yeah, hopefully that'll be
I
soon.
just hope that Media Molecule have a plan this time for this extended upload. I don't know how long. I don't know if they've said yet how long this new upload time is going to be.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned that.
But obviously it's quite evident it's going to be longer than 15 seconds. So I hope that by doing it through in Dreams, there must be some type of system in place that's going to, flag it if it's something that shouldn't be there, because it has to be uploaded through in Dreams that then gets imported as a sound gadget. So I'm hoping that they've got a plan to try and stop what happened last time with it.
I thought
Part
they
of
did
it
say it
is
was going to be 3 minutes.
Sorry?
I thought they did say it was going to be 3 minutes. I'm not sure.
I don't think they've
I
confirmed
don't
the
know.
length, but they said it's going to be changed. Presumably that means made longer, because you can't really make it much shorter.
No.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I've forgotten. Go on.
But yeah, I hope they have an idea and a plan to stop what caused last time for it to be reduced. I hope they have some type of copyright
I'm sure
protection
they
in
have.
place.
I'm sure they have.
Part of it is there's a level limit. I think it's level 30 or something.
It is,
before
yeah.
you can actually use that.
Mm.
So perhaps the majority of the copyrighted stuff that was uploaded was from newer players.
Mm.
So hopefully whatever's going on works out anyway.
Yeah. I think it was a good idea to limit it to level 30, because probably by then you're quite invested in the project that you're making. And so you wouldn't realize not to use copyrighted stuff to jeopardize the release of your content. So yeah, hopefully it works out this time.
Yeah, and if not, resort to the extreme measures. that I created. Which is if you break the rules, your whole dream is gone. Like the whole thing, like just
The whole
erased
thing,
off, just
deleted.
erased off. You don't get it back. You got to do it all over again, and maybe that'll make it so you learn. Like I really, because I don't want this taken away. Like so like I would not be mad if they were like, hey, you messed this up, you're gone. They're just completely gone from dreams. Like
because really it's in a way that's what's happened to other people trying to make their own non-copyrighted stuff, is that they've stopped making that thing, or they've just left dreams entirely because the limit was introduced because of people uploading copyrighted stuff. So I can understand the wanted to that kind of retaliation. It feels like it might be warranted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at RBD. He said changed equals it's now 14 seconds instead of 15 seconds.
Huzzah!
Yes. Finally. I have even
warmed
less
down
time.
and got down to 14 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll tell you what, that would have been a great April Fool's joke for Media Molecule to play. That would have been fantastic to see a tweet. You know, new
That might have
update.
been worse than the Volkswagen stuff order.
Oh, I haven't seen that. The one I saw was Zoom's Battle Royale. I don't know if you saw that. That was quite a good one.
No.
Yeah, the Zoom call Battle Royale mode. 100 callers and whoever's last wins. That was a good one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, and Tap, I don't want to cut you off too soon. You had some talking points. If you got another one, let us know.
Well, I may as well do an actual plug.
All right, here we go.
So, if you want to find out about me and what I do with dreams, go to tapgiles.com. That's with a G. And it has links there to like YouTube and Patreon and ways to support me, ways I can support you. Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. That's very cool.
No, thank you for coming.
Yes, and I'll be in touch, I'm sure, because I need to get you into something into something a little more comfortable. I felt like the statement was I felt like the statement was sounding wrong, so I just figured to just take it there. But no, I'm definitely gonna need your help before this is all done. so yeah, I'll be in touch. But thank you everybody for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and don't forget to support Tap. Patreon.com/TapGiles or TapGiles.com. And Jamie, any final words?
Just keep on spreading the word of dreams because it's on sale. So if you have anybody that is interested in creating anything, get them into dreams now while it's cheap. It's a good incentive to get people on board and show them what it is, why we love dreams so much.
I've spent over $300 buying people dreams.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's my claim to fame. It's like it's like I may not be able to do something, but I bet you can, and you're creative. So if you like, you don't know this exists, here. So even if you got to buy it for them and force it on them, if you got to kneecap them so they have time to play it. No, I'm just playing. Anyway, just go ahead and do it for the people and support, and never stop believing in the dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, we're done. That's it.
We're done.
Right.
I think so. I think we're good.
Later, everybody.
Bye.